Bingo Blitz rules!
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini-games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
'Tis the season for shopping and hopefully scoring some great deals while you're at it. Which is great because with Rakuten, it's also the season for stacking up the savings. Use Rakuten to stack cash back on top of holiday sales at thousands of stores like Levi's, Best Buy, and Sephora. That's right, that's savings on top of savings. With Rakuten, you can save money on gifts for everyone on your list, from toys for the little one to kitchen gear for the hostess with the mostest, to electronics for yourself. Shopping with Rakuten means you get to spend more time locating the perfect gift and less time trying promo codes that don't work. And did I mention that Rakuten is super easy to use? Just start your shopping at Rakuten.com or in the Rakuten app. Feel free to browse and shop just like you normally would, and then you get cash back by PayPal or check. It's truly a no-brainer. Join for free at Rakuten.com or download the Rakuten app. That's Rakuten, Rakuten.com.
Hello, beautiful Scoobies. Kristin and Jenny here, right on the cusp of rolling you into our very first episode of Once More with Spoilers, our second journey through Buffy the Vampire Slayer, this time, if you can believe it, with spoilers. It's November 6th, 2024, I'm sorry to say, and it's possible there may not have been a more perfect moment to head back into Sunnydale together with you all.
Truly. Our original coverage, in case you don't know, of Buffy the Vampire Slayer began in September of 2016. The days and months that followed that premiere found many of us afraid and overwhelmed by the world around us, and at the same time, we were having a very good time talking about a group of friends, soon to be chosen family, who were helping each other face unfathomable evils.
By December of 2016, we'd reached the end of the first season of Buffy, and we also found ourselves inside a new and beautiful community. So many of you forged friendships and chosen families with each other, and in many ways, we all kept each other afloat in the days, months, and years that would follow.
The one thing that we both woke up knowing today, a day full of uncertainty and fear, was that we had this community, our buffering community, which was forged around a very similar experience 8 years ago to return back to. We have each other, we have a show we love, we have a story that resonates deeply with us, and in a moment when it might be hard to find beauty anywhere, there's beauty here, despite all else.
You really have no idea what's going on, do you? You think it's coincidence you're being here? That boy was just the beginning.
Oh, why can't you people just leave me alone?
Because you are the Slayer. Into each generation, a Slayer is born. One girl in all the world, a chosen one born with a
Strength and skill to hunt the vampires, to stop the spread of their evil blah, blah, blah. I've heard it, okay?
I really don't understand this attitude. You've accepted your duty. You've slain vampires before.
Yeah, and I've both been there and done that, and I'm moving on. Hey, I know. Why don't you kill him?
I'm a watcher. I haven't the skill.
Oh, come on. Stake through the heart, a little sunlight. It's like falling off a log.
A Slayer slays. A watcher...
Watches?
Yes. No. He trains her. He prepares her.
Prepares me for what? For getting kicked out of school? For losing all of my friends? For having to spend all of my time fighting for my life and never getting to tell anyone because I might endanger them? Go ahead. Prepare me.
And welcome back to Buffering the Vampire Slayer once more with spoilers.
Air horn, air horn, air horn, air horn.
T-shirt cannon, t-shirt cannon. A podcast where we are watching and discussing every episode, each and every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, one at a time, for the second time, this time with spoilers. I appear to be a normal person until the feed is upon me. Only then do I reveal my true demonic visage. I'm Jenny Owen Youngs.
I'm Kristin Russo, gorgeous in like kind of an annoying way. And today, holy shit, we are back. We are back. We are back. Tell your kids, tell your pets, tell your friendly local vampires. We're discussing season 1. Episode 1. Welcome to the Hellmouth.
Do. Yeah, we're always looking to capture that vampire section of the market, that demographic.
I think they would appreciate our work.
Would they?
I think so. I think we have a lot of care, a lot of scholarship. I think we respect them, and we also make fun of them. And that means that's the expression of the truest love, is when you can both respect and make fun of someone, you know?
So true. So true. Listen, Welcome to the Hellmouth was written by Joss Whedon, directed by Charles Martin Smith, and originally aired on March 10th, 1997. Our spoiler-free coverage of this episode originally aired on September 14th, 2016.
Yes, and we're going to say more about what we're doing here for those of you who just, tripped and fell into the open sewer cover and found yourselves here without any context. But for now, this is the episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer where, according to IMDb, when teen vampire slayer Buffy tries to start a new life at Sunnydale High, she discovers that the school sits atop a demonic, dimensional portal. I'm not sure that she's discovered that yet, but you know what? I didn't look to see if it's the same description for this and the Harvest. So perhaps, she's discovering. She's in the process of discovering.
So why are we here? What are we doing? Who are we? And honestly, who are you? And furthermore, how did you get here? And what other questions will we seek to answer or not during this podcast recording?
Well, I'll tell you what, if you don't already know, from the year 2016 to the year 2022, Jennifer Owen Youngs and myself, Kristin Nolene Russo, talked about 144 episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We did that one at a time over the span of 6 years, and we did it spoiler free. And if you weren't on that journey with us, what that meant was if we were in episode 1, we were only talking about episode 1. When we were at season 4, episode 12, we were only talking up to that point. And so we kept that, and we have that still exists. And those are for folks who have never seen the series before and they want to have a pod to be their companion. Great. But then when we got to the end, we flirted. We flirted a little bit, Jenny. We said, maybe we'll just do it all over again. And we said it for a couple years. People didn't take us seriously, but I think we were serious, were we not?
Joke's on them now.
Joke's on them now. Might be on us later, but time will only tell.
Yeah. Yes, and our mission here is to talk about the show we love so much, that we enjoy talking about so much, but to be able to do it this time, taking into consideration the larger scope, the full run of the show and beyond, so that we can call out foreshadowing, whether it was intentional or not. We can talk about where we're going and not just where we've been. Isn't that fun? Isn't that cool? Gosh, we hope you think so.
I think so. My opinion counts double because I'm one of the hosts.
So true. And my opinion counts triple because I am the more popular of the two hosts.
Sure, yes. And it is, you can often tell the most popular of the two hosts by the fact that they will often say they are the most popular.
Any man who must say, I am the king is no king. If Tywin Lannister were here, he would smite me. And I would say, fair.
Jenny and I, if you don't know this, here's a fun fact. In 2016, Jenny and I were married to each other. And through these Did you have something to say? Jenny just made an Italian hand gesture at the camera. No, you were just excited about that one time in life when we were married to each other. And
so excited.
And the journey that followed. So we were married to each other in season 1 of our original coverage of Buffy. And then in the 6 years that followed, as we podcasted, we went through a whole hell of a lot, including getting divorced in season 3.
Cautionary tale for anybody out there thinking about starting a podcast with their partner. Look out.
Look out.
Look out.
Look out. Seriously, look out. We started our conversation of season 1 in 2016, just a couple of months before the presidential election, which, that doesn't have any overlap with now actually at all. We're recording this episode.
The timing does raise an eyebrow or two.
Or 5 or 7. We're recording this on Halloween, October 31st. But this episode will be airing on November 6th, the day after another presidential election. But this one's really different than the one in 2016.
Yeah, so different.
And something that I want to say, so long story short, we have journeyed through a lot. And if you want the longer story, we actually did write a book that comes out in April, which details all of the things that we journeyed through as we covered the series for the first time. It's called Slayers, Every One of Us. And we definitely ripped our beating hearts from our chests to write that book, I would say. Jenny, do you feel like you ripped your beating heart?
I think that's more than fair.
Yeah.
I ripped many beating things from my body. And the important thing is that the book got written and it's coming out in April, and that's all well and good. And you can get the full story there if you're just finding us now.
Yes. And so today I actually had therapy today, Jenny, which was really nice for me because you and I talked about like what we were maybe going to do inside of this space today, the day of the recording.
And then you talked about it with your therapist.
And then I talked about
I would think it would be more ideal timing for you to have therapy after we record a podcast.
After we record. No, yeah. I just the more I talk, I was talking about, we just had an event in Washington, D.C. for Halloween. And I was just talking about you and I and how we occupy space together and what we've been through and sort of saying obviously I'm in a reflective space because we just wrote this book, so we just poured over all of these details of our history, and then we're sitting in this space again because the book is really us sitting in our little recording chairs in September of 2016 and looking forward and knowing that we have no idea what's going to unfold over 6 years. So there's a certain overwhelming.
Oh, you're saying writing the book was living our lives once more with spoilers.
Yeah, well, no. Well, more so just, we have just spent so much time thinking about all that passed and changed and moved between us and in the world in that 6 years. And so to sit in these chairs now, those chairs were in Altadena, California in 2016. And so for you to be sitting in Maine, remarried with a nearly 2-year-old son, for me to be sitting in this chair, remarried, 6 months pregnant and about to have my first child, and to think about the fact that we might do a different kind of journey both through the series but also in our lives just feels I just got very emotional when I was talking about it in therapy because, we've I don't know, created a whole family here in our first run in the buffering space. And we've created also a really wild and wonderful kind of family, you and I, and then the people that we're married to and children and what have you. So I don't know. I just feel, despite the looming threat of presidential elections, I also feel very full of joy and hope and gratefulness that I get to be here sitting with you talking about this show.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I feel so excited to be kind of back at the beginning, but in a brand new way. And, to be here with my good friend, Kristin Russo.
Yes. Even more joy for me to get to be here with my best friend, Jenny Owen Youngs.
I think it's going to be fun.
I also think it's going to be very fun. There's going to be, we try not to, after years and years and years of podcasting, something that we've learned is not to force format or force segments. They are born of their own will and form and shape.
Of need.
The need.
Born of need.
Born of need. You're right. But we do have a couple of things that we are going to try to kick around inside of this space. One is that in the original run of our coverage of Buffy, we would end every episode, all 144, with an original song, some that we wrote together, many that Jenny wrote on her own, all of which, Jenny, you produced and recorded and all other sorts of things on your own. And we're going to play with that in this space, aren't we?
Yeah, we're gonna end every one of these episodes with the original song, and what we're also going to be doing is talking about the songs a little bit. So stay tuned at the end of the episode for a little bit of conversation about making the songs as we go along.
Yeah. I'm very excited about that piece of this. And then
Me too.
A segment, we have a bunch of jingles already in the can, so that's fun because we can just fucking pew, 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 deploy them out into the world when we need them. But in our first run, we, of course, have ran the Sexual Tension Awards, and we're chewing on that. Do we do it again? Do we give it a new shape? Do we give it a new form? You can email us at hello@bufferingcast.com. Let us know what your feelings and your thoughts are.
We're here for your suggestions. You know what form I think the Sexual Tension Awards could take, Kristin?
What form? Jenny is making the the beautifully curved formation with her hands that has like shoulders and hips and another set of hips and a fourth set of hips.
Yeah. Imagine like 7 hourglasses stacked on top of each other.
Wow. If only I had access to the word hourglass, that would have been so helpful to me. One segment that I feel fairly strongly about is something that we've talked about already. What was Dawn doing? Now that we get to go into the series knowing that later on monks are going to insert very detailed memories about Dawn's existence in the Summers family all the way back to the beginning of time, we are going to, starting next episode, because this is a 2-part pilot. We got a lot to talk about today. Starting next episode, we're going to just think about what Dawn might have been doing. And folks, Jenny, have already started helping me with the math. It seems Dawn was about 10 years old at this point in time. So we'll work out the specific math and we'll, talk about larger things next time. But if you're in our Discord, if you're a patron of ours and you're in that Patreon-only Discord, there's a new channel. It's called What Was Dawn Doing? And there's a thread for several episodes so you can get specific and dig in. And we can share some of your thoughts on what Dawn was doing too.
Okay, I think it's almost time to get into the episode. Before we do, I am just going to issue, for the protection of our delicate listeners, a spoiler warning. Into every generation, a spoiler warning is born. Conversations within this podcast episode could touch on any of the following: all 7 seasons of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the canonical Dark Horse comics, Angel the television series, and any related canonical comics. And hey, anything that currently exists inside of or adjacent to the Buffyverse, and anything that may be announced or released as we go. Who knows what could happen in the coming years as we continue to talk about this show. They're always threatening to make a Buffy reboot, and it could actually happen.
It could.
Sometime.
It could. Nobody knows if we want it or not. I have very, very complicated feelings on that, but we'll see what happens.
I'd like to find out if I want it by getting it and then experiencing it and then deciding whether I wanted it.
Oh my God. Okay, so free reign. We are going to talk about whatever the hell we want. Of course, if we're going to talk about things like, Agatha all along or something that's a bit more current, we'll give you a little heads up in our conversation that we might spoil something else. But Buffy is on the table for us to say anything we want, anytime we want.
There's one other new element to the podcast for this run. LaToya Ferguson is going to be producing with us. And we are so happy. She's been with us on the X-Files for just about 2 seasons now, and we've been having a blast, but she is really excited to get to work on a show with us that she actually likes rewatching, which is nice for everyone.
It is.
And coming in hot, LaToya immediately flagged for us that Charles Martin Smith, who directed this episode, directed the pilot, is perhaps better known as a character actor. In fact, he was in the X-Files episode F Emasculato, which we just covered. I'll tell you what else, Kristin. His directorial debut, when he transitioned from primarily acting into doing some directing, his directorial debut was the 1986 horror comedy Trick or Treat. Kristin, it's Halloween today, right now, as we tape this. Trick or treat.
How on theme. You know, we have lived inside of what we call the Buffy mirror for years and years now, where when we do something, it just seems to fit right into the little groove of Buffy. And here we are. Halloween, director, premiered, Trick or Treat. Wow.
And listen.
Wow.
And fucking listen.
I'm listening.
He also directed a movie starring, not me, a different golden retriever, Air Bud. He directed Air Bud.
Damn. If you are younger and did not live through the 90s as a person cognizant of film and television, let me tell you that Air Bud was a fucking huge deal. I mean,
a sensation,
a true sensation. And I think that the sort of the big thing that really made LaToya do a little bit of a deep dive on this director is that a lot of the folks that we'll see, you'll hear, as we say, directed by, written by. There's a lot of repeats, a lot of like really Buffy alum that were here a lot. And so for LaToya, when she saw this name, she was like, this is not, I don't think we ever see this name again. And so, she couldn't really figure out exactly how Charles Martin Smith wound up being the pilot director. But it's an interesting thing that like for a pilot and especially because, and LaToya says this, Joss probably did a lot of like, backdoor directing as well. We're going to be, Jenny, I know you have the DVDs with the director's commentary. And so between LaToya and Jenny and myself, we'll be trying to also bring in some of that to our conversations. But while we're on that, we often start now with like big thoughts on the episode. And I would love to start there with you, Jenny, before we go into like a scene-by-scene discussion. Because I was thinking, obviously, there's a lot. I don't even know this, but there's kind of like a lot to be said around Joss Whedon, right? A creator that was sort of glorified and held up and then fell from grace. And we're not here to talk about the Joss Whedon of it all. And we have, we've discussed it in previous pods, and we'll discuss it as it's relevant to the episodes themselves. But watching this episode, I thought like, well, here's the thing, right? Where like we you, the listener, can do whatever you want. But I, as a co-host of the podcast, really hold two truths. One is that I have a lot of issue with the very problematic behavior of Joss Whedon. And I also hold in my other hand that Joss Whedon is a fucking incredible writer. And this episode was just like this dunk into what I mean when I say that, because it just never stops. Every fucking word on the page is just impeccably placed. It's doing a double lift or a triple lift or a quadruple lift, and I'm excited as somebody who now considers themselves a massive fan of the show to go back through it, knowing all of the things that I know, and to get to just like roll around in what is just such delightful writing for so many of these episodes. They are. This one is like fucking flawless, in my opinion. It's an incredible pilot.
It's a banger.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any more big thoughts, Jenny?
My biggest thought is, wow, there's a lot of ADR in this episode. There are a lot of shots where they're like outside or in the hallway or at the Bronze.
Uh-huh.
And the dialogue is like very, very close to the mic and like quieter than it could be in that environment because they've re-recorded it.
Yeah. A lot more crossfades than I remember as well. Just a lot of crossfading, maybe a little fun, like kind of like the effects that you can now like drag and drop in Final Cut Pro X or 10 or however you choose to say it. Just a lot of that, which, having just come off of the end of the series, I forgot about it.
Yeah. Okay. Come with me now into a darkened high school. You know where I want to hang out in the middle of the night when I'm doing deviant stuff? At my high school.
You say that like you wouldn't, but I do feel that like breaking into your school after hours is like a definite thing.
I guess, but perhaps it's just through the lens of adulthood that I'm like, why though?
Haven't I been here enough?
Yeah, exactly. But I can see why, because from the roof, from the top of the gym, you can see the whole town. And if that's not a draw for a teen, I don't know what would be.
I don't know. I have
the whole town?
I have memories of like being in spaces after they were, because if I was going to break into high school and like my teachers were still going to be there doing shit, or like the fluorescent lights would be on, like that's no fun. But like to be inside of a space that has a very specific meaning, like even after my high school prom, like they had like rented out the mall like after hours for like the party. And even that, it was the mall, but all the stores were closed and there was like a Velcro fucking wall. And like, it just was like out of context and it made it seem like very cool and fun.
Yeah.
So, you know, go for the view or go for the bad behavior or both. I forgot about all of these skeletons. We sort of like pan through the hallways. We get an opening shot of Torrance High School, Sunnydale High School, and then sort of pan through like a skeleton and then like a skeleton of something animal and a fetal pig in a jar. And I was like, wow, I don't remember any of this. And what I thought to myself, Jenny, as this boy, we open with a boy and a girl, a tale as old as time. They're probably going to make out. You know what to expect. And the boy has his arm covered in a leather jacket to protect him, and he breaks the glass of the window. And I said to myself, is this is science class? That's the only place you have skeletons like this. Is this and it looked like the window that Faith herself will fog up and draw a heart on with an arrow through it.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if they got this repaired and this is the same window or what, but just want to put it on the board.
I like it on the board. I like it there.
Thank you.
So, as you said, we know what to expect. Or at least in 1997, we thought we knew what to expect. Because the word vampire is in the name of the show, you're like, this guy's going to do something bad. But guess what? It's actually the petite blonde who is the vampire.
Get out of here.
She also says, I just don't want to get in trouble. And you know what, Kristin? Me neither. Me and Darla on the same page here.
Darla. Okay, so this is Darla, obviously. This is Julie Benz playing Darla. Perhaps one of my like top 5 favorite characters in the Buffyverse. I adore Julie Benz. It was, you know, you remember that everybody is young, but wow, the longer we go and we come back to the beginning again, the younger everyone seems to get.
Yeah. So true.
And I love that she has dressed up as a schoolgirl for the bit, you know, like she's put on like a school uniform. She's combed her hair. Yeah.
Once again, it calls to mind for me the Cullen house with the enormous framed sort of collection. It's like sort of a rainbow, a gradient of all the graduation caps from all of their various high school graduations through the decades.
Fucking artwork.
Vampires love 2 things, blood and high school.
This boy would not have clanged any bells for me. LaToya let us know that this is Carmine Giovinazzo, who is playing Boy. Carmine Giovinazzo actually went on to star in all 197 episodes of CSI New York, which tracks because the minute I started watching this episode with my current wife, who's never seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, she said, I know that guy from my cop shows. So welcome to the show, Carmine Giovinazzo, who is quickly killed and stuffed into a fucking locker.
R.I.P.
But this is, I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but right from the jump, the show is telling us with this very classic scene that it's going to upend your expectations. Not only can a tiny blonde girl be a vampire that will tear your neck apart. But turns out a tiny blonde girl can also be a vampire slayer. So let's go. Let's fucking go.
Indeed. To the credits. Let's go to the credits and be alarmed at the first season credits and the early version of the Nerf Herder theme. Were we ever so young, Kristin?
I don't think so. I watched this with Avanti and also Joanna Robinson. And Joanna immediately said in the credits, "Oh, don't we miss that scream?" There's sort of like it's when Willow is like blown back by the magic or whatever. And it is really delightful. And I do miss it when it leaves us. We get Willow with her long hair in the credits, which kills me. We'll talk more about how tiny they all are, obviously, when we get into the thing. And but we also get, the first hero shot. The credits will always end for all 7 seasons with this hero shot of Buffy. And
well, a hero shot of Buffy or
yes, or our most beloved, the Buffy bot. Jenny's most beloved.
Earth Angel Buffy bot. I love her. And okay, so this is a mid-season replacement show. So season 1 is 12 episodes, and it looks like they shot all 12 episodes before the season started airing, because we're seeing stuff from down the line. I saw credits. If not all 12, close. Yeah.
Very nice. And we don't have our font yet. Also, we have just a
proto-Buffy font.
Yeah. So we open in Buffy's bedroom. She's just gotten there. There are cardboard boxes everywhere. And she is she's laying in bed. And for those of you who've watched the series over and over and over and over again, you know that eventually Buffy will get incredibly doilified pillows and blankets, just like really the kind where like if you fell asleep on that, you're going to wake up with quite a pattern on your face. I thought it was fun that she doesn't quite have those yet, but she does still have a bit of a doily edging on her pillows and her blanket.
A harbinger of things yet to come. Yes. I do want to shout out, since it's very top of mind for me, Agatha Harkness likening the process of eating kale to swallowing a doily. I'll be thinking about that for weeks to come.
Yeah, yes. Another show with very well-written dialogue. So she's dreaming, something that she's going to do a lot of. The Slayers, you know what? Just like pregnant women, Slayers have crazy dreams.
Yeah. Are you dreaming a lot of like blood?
Not yet, but I've only just started rewatching Buffy again, so I'm sure that... I'm sure that specifically what I'm hoping that I dream of is myself, slightly smaller than maybe I should be, sort of raising out fully clothed from a very brightly red puddle, like the Master does later, because that is one of my favorite visuals in the entire episode.
It's good. But before we can get there, we've got to see a whole bunch of vampires walking very like Night of the Living Dead style through a cemetery. My favorite moment in this dream is a monster arm smashing through the side of a crate that's covered in what appears to be maybe like ancient Egyptian imagery, hieroglyphics of some kind.
Yes, coming to you straight from Egypt. Vampires.
I also love the music in this section as the dream sequence continues. It like enters this sort of like dun 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 kind of like low brassy doom music, which I really just love.
Oh, we should also say, but I will use my voice box to do it, that Jenny and I considered listening to our original coverage before recovering and both decided, nah. So, you might be able to have a real blast hearing us say some of the same things. We have no idea what we said in 2016. We're going into this fresh as morning dew with our minds wiped clean of anything that may have happened in 2016. Yeah. Joyce interrupts Buffy. Well, Buffy kind of wakes up. Joyce calls from downstairs. Don't be late for your first day. Now, Jenny, I said to Joanna and Avanti, that didn't sound like Joyce. And they both were like, yes, it did. And so I immediately shut up because I felt I must not recognize Joyce's voice. I'm not saying it's not. It's just the don't want to be late for your first day. I was like, Joyce? Is that you? Is there another mom down there? So I don't know if anyone else had my experience. But since I was immediately squashed under the feet of my friend Joanna and my wife, thought I'd, see if anyone else felt like I did. The way we open on Sunnydale High School is, we recently watched Scream 5, and I've seen every Scream 1,000 times. You, Jenny, actually have been recently rewatching all of the Screams. The way that the Scream films open on the high school, in I think every installation of that film, is like so much taken from this like kind of beat. The way that you're at school, you see a school bus driving by, there's some kind of like, era specific music to teens playing as everybody walks into class. It just has such a vibe to it. Gave me all the Scream feelings.
Yeah. Look how sunny it is. Nothing bad can happen here. Woo, school. Hey, Joyce drops Buffy off and is like, hey, have a great day. Please do me one favor. Try not to get kicked out of your new school. Please? Thank you.
Did anyone else forget that Joyce's hair was ever so short? I gasped.
I totally forgot.
Yeah. Oh, Jenny, it's your favorite moment. Xander on a skateboard.
Xander on a skateboard, doesn't know how to stop, clotheslines himself watching Buffy. We actually have a picture of me simulating this act that we should put on social media.
We should.
To pair with this episode.
We should.
I have two questions.
Great.
If you don't know how to stop,
should you start?
Why should you? If you don't know how to stop, should you start? Question 2. Do you remember any boys in the 1990s wearing translucent shirts?
Oh, no, you're skip. Is he already wearing the translucent shirt? I noticed it later.
Yeah. Yeah. He enters in the translucent shirt over a tank top.
I don't.
Me neither. I like the look. It just like felt a little, but you know what? I feel like looking at all of the wardrobe, Willow being the exception, but like what Cordelia is wearing, what Buffy is wearing, all of the high schoolers are like, hello, it's business casual.
Oh my God, especially later when Buffy goes to the bronze in her blue like button up. I was like, interesting. That's an interesting choice given all the options, but okay. Willow.
Yeah, I feel a lot of sweater sets coming on.
Willow's white tights, I felt, was like a very it's delightful and so like fuzzy feeling to get our first beats with all these characters that we know and love, right? And so like Xander's first beat being like wiping out on a skateboard seems incredibly aligned with what we will come to experience with this character. Willow, especially, like just knowing her whole vibe in this season and the journey she's going to go on, like the fact that she's in these like thick fucking white tights and it's the first thing we see of her just really hit me in my feelings. And also her voice, Jenny. They have like, I recently was sent like a video of myself from just out of high school. And I am talking in the video and I sound nothing like I sound now. Like my voice has changed entirely. And that is exactly what, especially with Willow, like when she started talking, I was like, what? Like her voice is deeper than it will be later.
Yeah, and speaking of seeing for the first time people we're going to spend a lot of time with and like really grow attached to, hey, it's Jesse. Jesse's going to be here for a while too, right? He's part of the core gang.
Yeah.
How does Eric Balfour manage to look like he has a goatee even when he has no facial hair?
I think because his goatee...
There's just something about him.
Yeah, well, or the goatee is so branded in our minds that we overlay it. You know, it's like a magic eye. If you look at Eric Balfour's face for long enough, it pops out.
When you and LaToya quit fucking around and actually start making your OC podcast, you're gonna see Eric again, and you're gonna have fun with him.
I can't wait. I think I mostly know Eric from 6 Feet Under. I think that was like my most referenced point for him. But yeah, Jesse, knowing that we're gonna lose Jesse as soon as we are, I have to say that I really enjoyed spending time with him. He's a good time, and he would have been, I think, a good balance for, and maybe you're gonna argue with me on this, but I feel like he might have been a good balance for Xander if he had stuck around a little longer, because he really like digs on Xander and like, I don't know, has a different presence overall.
Xander needs a nice male role model around.
Yeah, exactly. I know. As I was saying it, I was like, I really feel like this is a Swiss cheese argument, but I'm gonna just go ahead and say it anyway. Oh my God. I would not have told you that Principal Flutie was in episode 1. I knew he was around, but I forgot that he just is here right at the jump.
Here he is. He's got real nice principal guy vibes out of the gate. Seems like a kind of a pushover, maybe pushover potential.
Yes.
But then he accidentally catches a glimpse of Buffy's previous record and is like, I know I just ripped up this piece of your record, but let me tape it back together, but also let me not necessarily take into consideration how it originally was together. As long as all 4 pieces are together, it doesn't matter if they're sideways or upside down or in the right order.
Exactly. This was one of the first moments when I was like, wow, this writing and also just the like delivery. You know how like David Mamet as the playwright is known for like how close to like our actual speech his plays are. It's very like written with that kind of cadence in mind. This just like brief exchange of like, Buffy says, Mr. Flutie. He says, all the kids here are free to call me Bob. She says, Bob. He immediately, but they don't. Like, it's just like, boom, 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 boom. And like a joke happens real quick and then you're on to the next thing. And it's just, I love it. That's all.
Oh my gosh, Kristin. Buffy is so clumsy. She's just like she's such a klutz. Like, oops, she like bumped into some people or they like bumped into her and her whole bag goes spilling everywhere. Steaks a go-go.
Yeah, her entire steak clanks. It's like clank, clank, clank. Probably if we were given this episode in the early aughts, we would have gotten like a slow-mo, like bang, bang, bang of the either side of the steak as it clattered to the ground. Xander is so fucking cute here. Like listen, we have a lot of Xander feelings on this podcast, but I will tell you something. This boy is adorable. And I would have cast him in a fucking heartbeat for this role. Like, he is just so fucking cute. Talking to Buffy, being unsure, and I'm going to own that. I'm going to own that Xander is a very cute boy right here.
He's a cute boy. He's wearing a cute outfit. His hair is shaggily cute.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they were like inspired very directly by Devon Sawa and Casper? Well, I guess both Casper and Devon
in general.
In Casper. When they were like, okay, well, they got, can I keep you? What can we say? Can I possess you? No, it's a little too serious. Can I ensconce you? No, too formal. Can I have you?
Perhaps. I love that you're pulling out a Casper reference, knowing that you and I only watched Casper for the first time like 4 days ago. But
well, yeah, so it's top of mind.
Top of mind and right in this timeline. We both go to school here, he says to himself after saying it to Buffy, and then comments, very suave, very not pathetic, and then shouts after her, hey, you forgot your steak?
I love that he drops his whole ass backpack onto the ground to pick up this steak and hold it out to her.
He's overwhelmed. I mean, I don't even know if we said that he crashed his skateboard because he saw Buffy. But this is important, right? Xander is very overwhelmed by the presence of this new girl at school who he thinks is very pretty.
Who among us has not accidentally clotheslined ourselves because of something Sarah Michelle Gellar related?
That's true. It's true. I also feel like it's important. We talked about Joyce dropping Buffy off what she said. We talked about Flutie, but like, let's just establish that, and LaToya says this in her notes, Buffy burned down her last school. That is why they relocated to Sunnydale from Los Angeles. And that is all we need to know canonically from the Buffy the Vampire Slayer 1992, I believe, movie. That's the backstory. Great. Taken care of in 2 short scenes. Moving on.
Kristin, I was just dying watching this classroom scene. The Black Death, the teacher writes on the board. It's estimated that about 25 million people died in that 1 4-year span, but the fun part of the Black Plague, the fun part of the Black Plague is that it originated in Europe. How? As an early form of germ warfare. The fun part of the Black Plague is that it originated as an early form of germ warfare. She then says, she goes on to say, I've never heard anybody talk about a plague like this. This popular plague led to what social change? This plague is popular. It's fun.
Oh, this teacher sat up at night just being like, how can I sell this to my high school students? What are the buzzwords, you know?
But as she finishes saying this popular plague led to what social changes, the bell rings. Why does every teacher on TV start class 60 seconds before the end of class?
Jenny, another question. Why did Buffy come to this school and get a conversation with the principal, but not nary a textbook?
Zero textbooks. Did you take textbooks out of your school library? Was that ever a thing that you did?
No. And I actually, like, my biggest memory of textbooks is in college because they cost so much fucking money. And like, it was like a whole thing and you'd have to go to the bookstore and spend every dollar you ever had on textbooks. But I couldn't remember where my high school textbooks, I think they were just in the classroom, like stacked
we would just
up
get them in whatever class they pertain to. Also, this is making me like nostalgic for a text. I wish that maybe it's because of the responsibility factor. I'm like, wow, I wish my biggest responsibility was like doing some math problems in like a big book.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. But also maybe I'd just like to do some math to relax.
Math does really relax Jenny. Anytime we talk about buffering the Vampire Slayer's finances, she's so happy. It's like, you know why? Because it's a solvable problem. You know, it can be fit into
it's an area. It's an arena where I can exert control over fixed data.
My textbook nostalgia is partially where yours is, but even more so when I think about especially high school textbooks, I think about taking brown paper bags and making little covers for them. Oh, delicious. I would love to do that. This child that has not yet been born, it's just so far away from needing a textbook that I can cover in brown paper bag. Do your children need their textbooks covered in brown paper bags? Can you call me? 1-800 Kristin loves brown paper bags.
It's a long phone number. This is the class where Buffy meets Cordelia. The green of Cordelia's pants is just, it's shocking. It's sort of like inconceivable. The other thing that I'll note about Cordelia's wardrobe is she is also wearing a translucent shirt. Cordelia and Xander are both wearing see-through shirts. Alert! Alert!
Foreshadowing?
Maybe.
So Cordelia is our resident mean girl. And she starts off, and I love this character point, right? She is immediately into Buffy, and it is because she knows, she's done her due diligence. Buffy has come from Los Angeles. She's come from the big city. So Buffy automatically gets allowed into the test, right? She doesn't even have to take the written. She's just immediately allowed to participate in Are You Cool Enough because she comes from LA.
One of the questions is about John Tesh, and I've assembled some John Tesh facts for you in direct response to this.
Great. I can't wait for your... You know, what's funny, Jenny, is one thing I do remember about our coverage of the first episode is that people were mad at us. Like, there were some of our only negative comments were like, these two hosts had to take time off mic while we listened to look up James Spader. I don't know what we were doing, but like, I think we needed to look something up about James Spader in 2016. And we were new to podcasting, so perhaps we just didn't, do it in a smooth and suave way. So I love that you've come prepared, and this time with John Tesh facts. Hit me.
Oh, yeah. He got his performance start as a member of Yanni's touring band.
Wow. Yanni. Didn't have that on my bingo card for our premiere.
He composed the theme song for Bobby's World and also the NBA on NBC theme, which is referred to as round ball rock. One way to make sure everybody knows your little song is about basketball, call it round ball rock.
Oh my God, Riley's favorite song.
Yeah, that's 1,000%. And he has a radio show that is the number one competitor of another popular, widely syndicated radio show. Do you know who he's in direct competition with?
I bet you he's in direct competition with Elvis Duran.
Incorrect.
Okay,
Elvis Duran is just hosting on Z100, and maybe he has like a serious show or something.
Wait, is
widely syndicated. You can hear this show all over the country.
Dahlia. What's her name? Delia. What's her name?
Delilah.
Why? Thank you. I almost switched out of Elvis Duran to Delilah, but couldn't think of her fucking name somehow. Okay, so he's in competition. That makes more sense. We hear John Tesh all the time here in upstate New York. Yeah. Thank you for that fact rundown. Later, just to let you know that we care about giving you the most interesting facts about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Jenny did some deep dives on John Tesh. Later, I will do some deep dives on Bovril.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Anyway, Buffy passes. She's allowed admittance into the cool club.
Yeah. You know who's not allowed? Willow.
Willow
is just trying to live her life and hydrate. And Cordelia is so mean to her. And we don't like this, even though we love Cordelia. Don't worry. Don't worry. Now that we can talk about the greater picture here, it will be a balm upon your wounds if you consider that mere episodes from now, these two will be locked in a mop closet together doing who knows what.
Truly. Yeah. And I think, you know what? We haven't played a jingle yet. And Cordelia's jingle, which who knows, we probably won't even make it through this episode without playing it. But Willow's jingle is one that had many versions over the course of 7 seasons because, Willow's changing character is quite monumental. But this is where our original Willow jingle sits so perfectly. So let us think about the softer side of Sears, Cordelia's burn on Willow, and her little sweet face standing by that water fountain as we listen to our first jingle in our new run, Willow.
Who knows the square root of 1225? Willow. Who's gentle of heart and nimble with a hard drive? Willow, 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 Willow.
We learn that Sunnydale is a very small town in this little exchange, too, because Cordelia... We get the first mention of the Bronze. Cordelia invites Buffy to the Bronze. She says it's the best club in town, to which we all shout, "It's the only club in town." And then she says, it's like over past this street. It's like we don't have a lot of town here. So I don't know if that really pinged anything for you.
Well, let me ping for you that this is what I would posit is the first deployment of Sunnydale Hell geography.
Hell geography.
Those of you who've been with us for a while know that when we do math at the Hellmouth, it's called Hellmath. But this is Hell geography. 1/2 block good part of town plus 1/2 block bad part of town equals 1 town. I guess that is more like hell math. And there it is.
Hellmath.
The Bronze, as you mentioned, has entered the chat.
Oh my
Can't
God.
wait.
And Cordelia is like so excited about having a new popular Cordette. I'll see you at gym and you can tell me everything there is to know about you. Buffy has the response that I would have to this moment, which is like, I don't want to talk at all to anyone ever.
Okay. Don't bother taking me someplace new unless there is a newspaper on a surface with a big, thick, red marker circle around an article about local boys still missing.
I could not believe that before we even see Rupert Giles, we see a red
We see his
circle.
habit.
Incredible.
This man has an office in the library. Keep this circled piece of the newspaper in your office, sir.
But he's so excited. He's like, I used the phrase in my notes, moldering out at one point because I'm now well versed enough. He's like so excited. And LaToya in her notes said he's really giving some Wesley vibes. Like he's
I took the same fucking note. He's like if Wesley wasn't a complete fucking buffoon. No offense, Wesley. Obviously Wesley improves.
Yeah.
But when Wesley first comes to town, he's a total ding dong and he doesn't come into himself until he goes to Los Angeles
and gets a neck scar
and becomes a man.
Oh my God. Miss Summers.
Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. How are you going to tap, tap, tap this girl who's looking at your murder paper and be all like, he's like very...
It just
something.
It just also feels like, and you know, it's the Watchers Council is definitely not great at a lot of things, but it just feels like maybe if they were to excel, it would be at properly establishing a meeting between these two instead of like popping Giles as the librarian into the school and then just having him wait until a new student showed up and then just hoping that was the Slayer. Like it just feels like maybe it could have been organized a little bit more. Like maybe this was a call that could not have been an email. You know what I mean? They tried to make this an email, and I think they should have actually made it a call or a proper meeting.
Great big vampire book alert. Thwap. Ever heard of a vampire, Scully?
He's just so cannot contain himself. Like, it just feels, listen, I love it. But my God, sir, why don't you just say, like, I am a watcher, Rupert Giles, blah, blah, instead of like, bang, vampire.
Yeah, I have what you're looking for.
Buffy is like, no fucking thank you. And to Buffy's point, maybe she should have been allowed to have one day to like figure out where her classrooms were and get her textbooks before being face to face with the fact that she is the chosen one and has to live a life full of fighting demons and not having anything normal ever happen to her. She leaves and we cut to the gym. Jenny, I know we're going to hear the song at the end, but I was most excited to get to I couldn't even get past the initial establishing shot of lockers without singing to myself, there's a dead guy in the locker and all they did was cancel gym. One of my favorite lyrics of all 160 of the songs that exist in the buffering catalog.
Which immediately follows the line, with a great big vampire book, probably bound in human skin. There's a dead guy in a locker and all they did was cancel gym.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Two students named Aura and Aphrodisia are going all in on what kind of a name is Buffy. And then, okay, so obviously we know that the words in the mouths of teens in this show, like there's a very specific kind of lexicon. It's got like they've got their own vocabulary. They've got like a thing going on. The slang is very Buffy stamped, right?
Yeah.
But on this watch, the chatter in the calf really just made me feel like, how do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah. The calf, maybe, but chatter? I don't think any teenager in 1997 ever said the word chatter. This is and this is fun. LaToya is going to make this conversation just delightful in every way with her producing. But Aura is played by Persia White, a character who ends up being mentioned on the television show Angel. Love to hear it, but is never seen again after this moment in Buffy. She is Persia White of Breaker High, Girlfriends, The Vampire Diaries. And that one episode of Angel, she plays psychic Agnes Belfleur in season 2's Over the Rainbow. So that's fun. That's fun facts from LaToya Ferguson. And I also would like to give Persia White some serious points on incredible screaming. If you're new to listening to me.
Dude, the scream is good.
Right? I love to assess the quality of a horror scream, and this is
You're
really
an aficionado.
good. Yeah, I am. It's giving notes of, I sniff the scream and just find out where it fits in the lineup. Everything is underneath Patricia Arquette in Nightmare on Elm Street 3, the best horror scream of all time, in my opinion. Come fight me.
Support for today's episode comes from OneSkin. Did you know your body starts accumulating senescent cells as early as your 20s? These are also called zombie cells.
Ooh, perfect for Halloween.
I know, except you don't want them. These cells stop producing collagen and hyaluronic acid and start secreting an inflammatory substance that makes neighboring cells dysfunctional too. There is an answer for these zombie cells, though, and it comes from our friends at OneSkin.
Cut off their heads. Just kidding.
No.
Founded by an all-woman team of scientists, OneSkin is the first and only skin longevity company to target cellular senescence, a key hallmark of aging, with their proprietary OS1 peptide. OS1 is scientifically proven to decrease lines and wrinkles, boost hydration, and help with the thinning skin that often comes with age. You don't have to take our word for it, though our word is thumbs up all around. Two girls, 4 thumbs over here, all facing upwards toward the sky because we love this face cream. We love this lotion. But it's not just us. They have over 4,000 5-star reviews for their full line of face, body, sun, and travel size products.
OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Get started today with 15% off using code BUFFERING at oneskin.co.
That's 15% off at oneskin.co with code BUFFERING. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, and hey, why don't you tell them you heard about them from us? Buffering, a Rewatch Adventure.
For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. And when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to speak of them or talk about them or in any way portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like, it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Oh, Jenny, it's time for a sound clip, goddammit. We've given 0 sound clips, and we need to hear this exchange, I think, between Buffy and Willow outside, because it's very establishing.
Hi. Willow, right?
Why? I mean, hi. Did you want me to move?
Why don't we start with, hi, I'm Buffy, and then let's segue directly into me asking you for a favor. It doesn't involve moving, but it does involve hanging out with me for a while.
But aren't you hanging out with Cordelia?
I can't do both.
Not legally.
Willow has a JanSport with an embroidered band on the pocket pouch. It cannot be overstated.
I only had JanSport I only fucked with JanSport backpacks in the 90s in high school. I never had embroidered anything on mine, but I did have a lot of Sharpie on mine at various phases.
Yep.
You know, anything was your canvas at this age, you know? Just trying to express ourselves out here. Your shell tops, give me that Sharpie marker. Let me write on your shell tops.
Buffy needs help. She needs to get caught up. She doesn't know what's up and what's down. And Willow is the smartest kid in school, probably. So she's going to help Buffy out. Thank God. She also is going to let Buffy know some important information. The librarian is new. He was a museum curator in England. And now he's suddenly here. And he's so cool. And he brought so many old volumes with him.
The new librarian is really cool. In addition to the bronze entering the chat, Willow's crush on Giles has entered the chat. And, you know, later we'll hear Willow talk about the problems that she has interacting with boys, that she doesn't really know what to say to them. But I think it's that Willow does know what to say. It's just not the things that she imagines a teenage boy would want to hear, which is why she's pining after a British librarian, because what Willow wants to talk about is probably something that a librarian would be interested in hearing about, you know? She just needs to find the right conversationalist. It's not on Willow. Enter Jesse and Xander, again, not to like make it all about Scream, but like they enter in a very like stew, and you know what I mean? Like just like this is the moment when they're sitting by the fountain and you know,
just boys doing boy stuff, really boying out in the hang.
Boying out, yes. Jesse's line, which I've never caught before, he says to Buffy, "We wanted to welcome you, make you feel like you were home, unless you have a scary home." I was like, wow, Jesse. So really consider it. Well, not assuming everybody has a good home life. Love to see it. Xander returns Buffy's steak, makes a joke about like she's probably using it to like build a really little fence, right? And Buffy covers this by saying that in LA this is the self-defense method. Pepper spray is so passé.
Totally. What you want when you're afraid for your life is to have to get within, 6 inches of someone to fend them off.
Yeah, holding Jenny's current wife, Jess, likes a sword. And what I've learned is that the best reason to defend yourself with something like a sword is that it can't be grabbed out of your hands very easily, because you would have to grab the sharp end of the sword. So that's always on my mind. The baseball bat, not great unless you put some fucking backwards nails in that shit, because you can just grab it. And the steak, I mean, I have to say it has the same issues. So
yeah, did we just watch somebody in Scream grab a knife?
Oh my God, yes, we did.
The new girl?
Yes, Jenna Ortega, I think, in Scream 5 grabs the pointy end of the knife because she's a tough little bitch, and I love her so much.
Speaking of tough little bitches, Cordelia rolls up, and Willow is quick to say, she's not hanging out with us. She's trying to protect Buffy by letting Cordelia know that their proximity to one another is purely coincidental.
Oh my God. Okay, this might be where I can't resist but to give Cordelia her jingle. First of all, Jesse says, I think he just says Cordelia. And she says, "Oh, please." And then she says to Buffy, without missing a fucking beat, I don't want to interrupt your downward mobility. I love you so much, Cordelia Chase. Please, please let us play your jingle, you mean perfect bitch.
Cordelia, I love you, Cordelia. You're perfect, Cordelia.
Cordelia says gym was canceled due to the extreme dead guy in the locker. Let's just take a moment for the beauty that is 90s dialect, because we also get totally dead and way dead. And I think that even though Jenny and I are, moving through our 40s at this point, we still harbor a love for giving things a nice extra descriptor that it probably doesn't need. Maybe I just do. Jenny's better with her words than I am.
Is there a really most sincerely dead in the mix?
Probably. It can be. It can be. If you were here hanging out, you could give us a really most sincere dad. Buffy is so freaked out because she fucking knows like death follows her.
She's like, tell me about the condition of the body. Where were there marks and where were they and what was the time of death?
Cordelia's like, freak show. Buffy's points are plummeting.
Yeah, her stock is just through the floor.
Yeah. Buffy immediately goes to the locker room. We get the first glimpse of the kind of strength that she has when the door is locked and she simply rips through the lock to get into the locker room. And the important part of this scene is that she uncovers the body of Boy, who we saw earlier with Darla, and sees the vamp marks.
Who is in charge? Who is in charge? There is a dead body. There is no police presence. There's no crime scene tape. It's a fucking high school that they're not closing. There are students everywhere who can just, well, if they're strong like Buffy, break into the locker room. This body is just on a locker room bench that girls will be sitting on tomorrow,
And I think it has like a blanket.
And it's like a moving blanket. They were like, whoa, what do we have around here? What? Call the police. If word has already spread around campus, police should be there.
But this is Sunnydale.
Or EMTs, like somebody should be there.
Somebody. But this is Sunnydale, Jenny.
Or somebody.
Not like other towns. My other really important note, and it's been here with us since the moment Buffy arrived at school, but Buffy is wearing one tiny clip in her hair that does absolutely nothing for any piece of her hair. It's simply there for decor. It just is clipped over her hair.
Make it nice around the hair. Make it nice around the hair.
Oh my God. It's time to go back.
She like pulls the blanket back and is like, oh, great. This is how I'm always responding to dead exsanguinated corpses.
Okay. Time to go to the fucking library.
Okay. What's the sitch?
Sorry?
You heard about the dead guy, right? The dead guy in the locker?
Yes.
Because it's the weirdest thing. He's got two little holes in his neck, and all his blood's been drained. Isn't that bizarre? Aren't you just going, ooh?
I was afraid of this.
Well, I wasn't. It's my first day. I was afraid that I was going to be behind in all my classes, that I wouldn't make any friends, that I would have last month's hair. I didn't think there'd be vampires on campus, and I don't care.
And why are you here?
To tell you that I don't care, which I don't, and have now told you. So, bye.
It's great stuff. It's great stuff from Buffy.
And we lobbied real hard for an Emmy for Sarah Michelle Gellar through our first run of this television show. And it's with us so deeply, even in these first episodes. I mean, just her delivery. She is really singular in her ability to deliver these lines in a way that is so specific to this character. And Giles just wants to know if this boy is going to rise again. We learn immediately that can only happen one way. What's that way, Jenny? How can you make a boy rise again as a vampire?
You feed on his blood, then he feeds on your blood. It's a whole sucking thing. The thing is that the issue I have here is, okay, so it's great to get the lore and just find out how you sire a vampire in this universe. But how could she possibly know from looking at him whether or not he fed on the blood of the vampire who sired him?
I don't know. Do you think the state? No, because in this universe, I was going to say maybe the state of the corpse. Because
no, they die. They have a funeral.
They get buried. Right. There's other vampire lore where like you kind of drink right after being partially drained. But yeah, in this universe, you totally die. So she couldn't tell.
Yeah, it's not like you like get bitten and then the two of you levitate upwards homoerotically.
Yes, that
interviewing one another as you go.
That method is actually called the once bitten, twice shy method of siring.
Yeah.
Jenny? Yes, this is not that. Okay, so Giles has more to say to Buffy. He's like, into each generation, a Slayer is born. Jenny, I don't know if you're familiar with these.
I don't know if you've heard the news, Kristin, but, one girl in all the world, a chosen one, she alone will wield the strength and skill to fight the vampires, demons, forces of darkness, stop the spread of their evil and the swell of their number. She is the Slayer. Did you know that?
I did know that. Buffy, who knows if Buffy knows that because she interrupts Giles and says, with the strength and skill to hunt the vampires, to stop the spread of their evil, blah, blah, blah. I've heard it, okay? Later, we'll give you a little clip of a little quip. Can we just call them quips if they are clips of quips just to save real estate?
Are you saying quip?
Yes. A quip, because it's a quip, but also it's a clip. A clip of a quip is just a quip.
I just feel like you should say cluip. You should commit and say cluip.
Well, later we'll give you a cluip of our Slayer doing what she does best, but we're getting it all over this episode already, and their evil blah 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 is a classic. It's like Shakespeare. These are the classics.
Yeah, no, I definitely read this in 10th grade English.
Yeah, iambic pentameter all over this bitch.
Mm-hmm.
So Giles is hinting at the fact that you will find a steady stream of fairly odd occurrences in this town. He thinks that this whole area is a center of mystical energy. Interesting.
Doesn't sound like anything to me. He's like, we've got werewolves, we've got zombies, we've got succubi, we've got incubi. We're gonna see at least 3 out of 4.
Yeah. I actually don't know that I know what an incubi is.
I was just thinking the same thing. What is an incubi?
It must be in some way related to a succubi.
Yep. It's a boy succubi.
Oh!
It is a male demon. It is a male demon in human form in folklore that seeks to have sexual intercourse with sleeping women. Ugh.
Oh, God. Why? Is that what succubi do? I feel like the ladies wait till you wake up.
The corresponding spirit in female form is called a succubus. Listen. I'm telling you, the succubi that we saw Giles with later in the series, he's wide awake.
He's wide awake and it seems to be very consensual, as a matter of fact. But I don't remember all the particulars, so yeah, don't hold me to that.
He's listing all these things off, and Buffy says, "What did you send away for the Time Life series?" And he says, "Yes." And then she says, "Did you get the free phone?" And then he says, "Kristin, the calendar." Dun, dun, dun.
Do you think that the calendar that he got from the Time Life series is the same calendar that will mystically transform into a calendar of all Jonathan later in the series? Or do you think it's a different calendar?
I mean, I think so much time has passed that it's probably a different calendar. But I was dun-dun-dunning for a different reason, which is that in one short season's time away from here, Jenny calendar is going to show up.
Oh, geez.
So we already know that Giles's type is a calendar.
He loves a calendar.
From this scene. And more to come. More to come.
So this was really the scene that was full of really important beats. And we were sort of like, which one do we open the whole podcast with? We chose the latter half here, which is where Buffy says she's retired and they have a conversation about, he should kill them. Giles should just kill the fucking vampires, right? And Buffy says, a slayer slays and a watcher watches. And Giles counters that no, a watcher prepares her. This quote that we played at the top where Buffy says, prepares me for what? For getting kicked out of school, for losing all of my friends, for having to spend all of my time fighting for my life and never getting to tell anyone because I might endanger them. Go ahead. Prepare me. That could just simply be the description of this television series, right? Like that beat is it's beautiful, it's devastating, and like we're only in episode 1, so we actually don't have any reference point for what that could mean unless we've seen the series. And when you filter in what that could mean to this little speech, it is heart-wrenching on a whole different level.
This felt familiar while it was happening, and the reason that it felt familiar is because it really pings the moment in Prophecy Girl where she's also talking to Giles and saying, read me the signs, tell me my fortune.
Yeah.
She's 16 and she doesn't want to die. It's just like, I can't believe right here in episode 1, I can't believe that's only 11 episodes away. The finale of this short first season, and I can't believe that we're already kind of getting the precursor to that. Like I feel like this is the appetizer.
Yeah Giles, sometimes I say like a lot of stuff to Jenny and she'll reply with like one word. We get that here from Giles as Buffy leaves. He just says, damn. Xander also has one word because he was in the library the entire time and has heard all of this. Whoops. He says, what?
What indeed? Giles follows Buffy out into the hallway, gets right up in her face in a way that we never see again. The proximity of Watcher to Slayer is, it's, there's like an intensity happening, and there is, I'm sure, there are blocking concerns, and like they're sort of like figuring out how does the show look and how do we want people to be interacting with each other and everything. And I think that they're just like very close to each other. And I think after the pilot, everyone was kind of like, he's also though a grown up.
Yeah, he's
and
also
he's the librarian at the
adult.
School. So maybe a certain respectful distance should be kept.
It's really weird. I think it really is the last time. I mean, I guess we'll track it, but I think it's truly the last time that we ever see Giles like lean over Buffy in any way, shape, or form, and it's very uncomfortable. Oh, Jenny, the last line in this hallway scene where Giles has followed her out to be like, this is actually a big deal. Like, this isn't just your run-of-the-mill vampire. He says there's a crucial, mystical upheaval happening soon. Buffy, this is Sunnydale. How bad and evil can there be here?
Oh, you sweet summer child.
Oh, baby girl.
And then we get our first subterranean pan down. This is a hallmark of the show. We love to go from everything is fine, pan down, to a cavern or a crypt or whatever. This cavern is full, absolutely brimming with candelabras and torches and vampires and overturned woodworkings and a blood pond.
A blood pond. The blood pond is definitely my favorite feature. Do you think that Angel gets his love of candles from the master? Like, do you think he learned it from you, Dad? Or do you think that he just loved candles on his own?
No, I'm going to refer you back to our listener email from a little while ago about how Liam, when Liam was changed, there was not really electricity, and so he loves flame as a light source.
My note in this scene is just, I laughed at myself. So many candles, comma, so much dirt. That's my full phrasing, my full note.
Yeah. We don't see a layer like this again, I feel like.
Yeah, no. I mean, Angel tries really hard to like put his candelabras around Vamp Mansion and make it look, something like a lair, but it never comes close to this. We certainly never get Blood Pond again.
A lot of the commentary on this episode, like in the DVD box set, is all about the things that that ended up being really problematic, and we're like, okay, we're never doing this again. We're never doing that again. We're never shooting an extended scene of Xander skateboarding through a bunch of students outside, like exterior day. We're never putting a bunch of vampires in Vamp Face for no reason because it's expensive and takes a lot of time. And we're never going to a big cavern again because we can just make a little lair in a crypt or a lair in Vamp Mansion or whatever.
Right.
I think that as the show goes, they figure out how to make these things like way more contained and efficient.
I don't know if you know this, listeners. Well, you don't if you're a newer listener, but when Jenny and I recorded our original pilot of Buffering the Vampire Slayer, we recorded it twice because we too learned a bunch of things in our first recording ever of a podcast. Jenny, I remember Luke, of course, but I have to tell you that I did not remember how amazing Luke was.
Oh, yeah.
Brian Thompson will come back to the show. He will play the judge. Brian Thompson is starring on one of my favorite shows right now, 911. Brian Thompson has been in the X-Files.
Oh.
Yeah, Brian Thompson is like the evil captain who takes the place of the captain that everyone loves.
Wow.
And yeah, he's great. And I think, when you think of season 1 of Buffy, it's often like when you try to get somebody to watch Buffy, right? Usually the sort of like mantra is like, it's really good. It's really powerful. It's an amazing show. You really kind of got to get through season 1, a lot of Monster of the Week stuff. It's 1997, blah, 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 blah. So when I like kind of think back to episodes in season 1, apart from like Prophecy Girl, which I know really like rings a fucking bell, I'm like, oh, it's like a lot of it is like kind of silly, but I love it. And I love the characters. So I was just like maybe putting Luke in that bin. And I was like, Luke is actually not silly at all. Like, I mean, he is in the ways that he should be, but Brian Thompson's fucking delivery of these like amens and his fucking voice, the sleeper will wake and the world will bleed. It's so good.
Now that I just listened to you talk about that, all I want is to sit here and picture Luke. Picture Luke as a what do you call it when there's like a doll with clothes that like a paper doll with like clothes that just kind of like have little tabs
like
that you
fold
like, fold
over?
Yeah, I guess a paper doll.
Paper doll. I think you call them paper dolls. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay, so imagine Luke as a paper doll.
Okay.
And like let's get rid of like the vampire stuff. Take off. I'm assuming he has like a little accessory that kind of goes over just his forehead for bumpy vamp face. Let's get him out of vamp face.
Great.
Let's get him in a backwards baseball cap. Let's get him in a flannel shirt. Let's get a pot of coffee in his hand. And let's get 2 women who never stop talking so fast seated at a table where he pours coffee into their mugs. You've never watched Gilmore Girls, Kristin? Not one time?
I haven't. I have not.
Oh, boy. I thought we were getting somewhere.
Figure out, like, I was like, are we Veronica Marsing? Are we Gilmore Girlsing? Like, what show is she steeped in that I have not seen?
It's autumn, so, it's the annual rewatch until it gets too painful to go on time for Gilmore Girls. So when I think of the name Luke, I think of one thing only.
Is that guy's name Luke Wheeler?
Wheeler.
Oh, no, that's a Luke from Nashville, Luke Wheeler.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Luke Danes is the Luke on
Luke
Gilmore
Danes.
Girls.
All right. Well, wow. Sometimes we get truly remarkable gifts from listeners, and it just feels right in your wheelhouse, listeners, for one of you or more of you to be skilled at making paper dolls. Where Jenny
just imagine Brian Thompson in full vamp face rolling up to Lauren Graham and Alexis Bledel with a pot of coffee in his hands and saying the sleeper will wake and the world will bleed. Amen. That's actually pretty right on.
Okay. So you can email us if you need to know where to mail those paper dolls that you're going to create for Jenny. You just email us at hello@bufferingcast. I'll hook you up. Buffy's room, interior, mirror. She's holding up a patent leather outfit, ? Hi, I'm an enormous slut. Then she holds up a floral dress. Hello, would you like a copy of The Watchtower? She does not wear either of these two outfits. She goes for something right in the middle, her business casual blue button-up.
Where are the teens getting all of this business casual clothing?
Where is Buffy getting her patent leather outfit? What is that for, actually? I would like to know.
Unclear.
Joyce is like ready. She is turning over every leaf, all of them, just ready for a fresh
start. Joyce.
You're a good girl, Buffy. You just fell in with the wrong crowd. Let's just put a pin in that for later when Joyce says things like, do you have to be a Slayer? Is this because you don't have a strong father figure? Because I feel like you just fell in with the wrong crowd also really goes along with those Joyceisms from the end of season 2.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, Jenny. I can't believe that we're already on this walk to the bronze. Please tell us what happens as Buffy click-clacks her way to the bronze in the dark.
This is unreal that we are almost to the bronze. We're en route. We're OMW to the bronze. Buffy leaves her house and some ominous-looking lower legs follow her. Uh-oh. Those legs look like trouble.
Ever been described as some ominous-looking lower legs? Unclear.
Yeah, look at the getaway sticks on this creeper. I also love when his hair is just so backlit. It's like a little spiky halo.
God, he's got the chunkiest black boots on. Oh my God, we're not there. We're not even to the reveal yet, but let's just talk about what this man has put on for his meeting with Buffy Summers. He looked through his closet of white shirts and he said, show me the biggest collar you can find.
Dude, it's so... I was like comparing the size of... What is the technical term for like the collar, like the triangle of the collar on like one side? Whatever that is like the same size as his actual head. And David Boreanaz is not a man with like a small head. You know what I mean?
I do.
He's got like a full-size melon.
Yeah, it's huge. And then he was like, wait, let me look through my jackets. Ah, a black velour. That will do. Nothing but the best for the Slayer.
Is it velour? Is it velvet? Is it satin? I thought it was so shiny that it could be satin.
My process was, oh, it's a velvet jacket. And then, no, it's way too shiny to be velvet. So therefore, it must be velour. Because velour has that like shimmeriness to it, you know?
Right, but it also has like a plusher like pile to it or whatever, and this jacket looks not like plush or like thick.
I don't know if you noticed the Master's jacket, Jenny, but it looked like it cost about 14 cents. So I'm just going to guess that this is a cheap velour jacket.
Yeah, that was some real Spirit Halloween
belt sewn into the sides of that jacket. 100%.
Yeah. Some real boss vampire costumes.
So truly, I think one of my favorite scenes in the entire series, or like not even scenes, but like moves, I guess, Buffy's, is this move where she's like doing a handstand on the pole, fully vertical as Angel is walking down, and then she like swings down. It's very cool. And
this has got to be another thing that I don't know this for sure. I don't remember for sure, but this shot just feels like holding yourself upright, upside down, in a handstand, on a pole. This is like, it had to take a lot to get this shot. And I feel it's just like really interesting to watch this episode and know that like some of what was going on behind the scenes is that they were like, oh, it's harder to do the things that we want to do than we thought it would be. I think what's interesting about like they're taking these big swings. They're trying to like make the pilot episode as much of an event and a spectacle and like have all these like exciting components coming together. And ultimately like the show, the show has lots of like really exciting fight choreography and like things happen. We go to the docks, you know, Angel gets thrown off a boat if I'm remembering correctly.
He definitely throws himself out a window. I can't wait to get there.
Yeah. Things happen, but it's not really like that's and it's all fun and great, but that's not like why the show is what it is, and it's not like the thing that we love so much. It's just interesting to kind of like be like rewatching this in its sort of like infancy.
Yeah. And we assume that this is, I mean, we know Sophia Crawford, did the stunts for Buffy for the first several seasons. I'm assuming, but I probably should check that includes the pilot. So I saw this, I said, go Sophia, go, she's a total badass. Let's hear, Jenny, a little exchange. We can't talk about the pilot without getting the first exchange between Angel and Buffy.
The truth is, I thought you'd be taller or bigger, muscles and all that. You're pretty spry, though.
What do you want?
The same thing you do.
Okay. What do I want?
To kill him. To kill them all.
Sorry, that's incorrect, but you do get this lovely watch and a year's supply of turtle wax. What I want is to be left alone.
Angel saying, I thought you'd be taller and more muscular when he saw her in Los Angeles like 5 months ago or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of discrepancy actually when we know that he has like not only seen her in LA, but that he is like definitely he gave up rats for her. You know what I mean? Like he has a lot of feelings.
Yeah.
Latoya in her production notes wrote, what do we think about this very angelus rendering of Angel, which is exactly what I thought on watching it, of like, he has this like snark and this like, I don't really care about you. I'm just like here to help you if you even want it. But if not, like, I'll just go back to doing my vampire stuff. And when you contextualize it with what we'll learn about Angel, it really is not the Angel that we will come to know.
Yeah, do you think he's just like really putting up a wall to protect himself?
I guess so, yeah.
Or do you think they're figuring out what the show is and what the characters are?
I mean, I think they're figuring out what, like, I think the backstory of Angel probably got fleshed out a bit more as as we got closer to it and what have you. And David Boreanaz is playing Angel with what he knows, which is not the full stuff. But I would prefer that we simply read it as Angel is being put on his velour jacket so he looks hot for his love, but also is playing it cool so that she is intrigued. I don't think Angel has that kind of game, but we'll talk about that much later in the season.
With her business casual half-button shirt and her hair up in this particular way, I note that Buffy looks a lot like Jean Smart in Hacks.
Oh my God, she does.
She looks like a comedian in her 70s.
Yeah. Like, it's working for Jean Smart, but maybe not quite age appropriate for Buffy.
Girls don't want to kill them all. Girls want to be left alone, Kristin. This is what I'm always saying.
That's what I'm always saying, too. Angel giving us like a real Christian Slater voice. Like, I just could only hear Christian Slater. You're standing at the mouth of hell. I just like needed him to like have a cigarette and Winona Ryder to be standing somewhere in the alley. And then he tells her that she has to be ready for the harvest. How funny. That's the name of the second part of this pilot.
What? Even though he is being very aloof and annoyingly gorgeous in an annoying way.
Yeah.
He did remember a very important rule of your first sort of like work date, which is bring jewelry. He got her a little necklace.
Oh, he gave her a crucifix. How cute. It's not a crucifix. I know. It's a cross.
Just a cross.
Jesus has to be hanging from it for it to be a crucifix. Just like champagne has to come from champagne.
Wow. Those are the
the
two sides of an even seesaw for you.
Yep.
Okay.
Is it important to say that he said he was a friend but not Buffy's? Maybe. There, I've said it. Let's go.
Well, he didn't say that he's not Buffy's. He just didn't say that he said he was Buffy.
He said, well, you might think that I'm your best friend, but I am actually only looking at you as my good friend, is what he said in the alley.
I'm sure they'll work it out.
Oh my God, it's the Bronze. Oh my God, Jenny, it's the first band that ever plays the bronze. It's a sprung monkey.
Stuff.
A bunch of them, actually.
It's sprung monkey. They're playing at the bronze. The bronze is here. The bronze has entered the chat. The bronze has a lot going on. The bronze has some of the darkest hallways to the bathroom that I've ever seen in a public place. You basically need a headlamp if you want to pee at the bronze.
Willow probably has one in her bag, just in case.
That's true. Buffy arrives and almost immediately gets tricked by the old wave that's for someone else.
One great thing to check on before you wave back is, have I ever met this person before?
Have I ever seen this person in my life? Willow has come to the bronze just looking like straight up grandma core.
This is like the outfit that my mom made like for me and her to match on one Thanksgiving. like it's like that kind of like collar cut. They're really going hard to let us know that Willow is, just very innocent, very unassuming. Maybe her mom is making her clothes. Well, we know that her mom is not, because her mom is like busy practicing psychology and not paying any attention to her. But that's another story for another day. Okay. Xander and Willow broke up when they were 5 because Xander stole her Barbie. So much information in there. I don't even think we have time to unpack it, but that's what we learned from Willow.
They've managed to move past it since then, which is good. I will always love Willow's like, boys don't like me because I don't talk. Boys are more interested in a girl who can talk. And Buffy's like, you really haven't been dating lately.
A classic Buffy line here. She gives Willow some advice. Life is short. Seize the moment, because tomorrow you might be dead.
That's nice, says Willow. That's nice. It's good.
Buffy,
it's really good.
I mean, whatever. You're listening to this podcast. You probably love these characters nearly as much as we do, et cetera, or more. I'm not trying to have a competition with you about how much you love these characters, but, it's important, I think, to state that we're meeting Buffy for the first time, and we see Buffy encounter Cordelia and like pass the test that she can be a popular girl. But these beats with Willow are so critical to like our initial impression of Buffy and who she is, because she is really kind to Willow, and she's going out of her way to also like let Willow know that Willow has value and worth. When she sees fucking Giles. It's also completely inappropriate that Giles is like, I know, I'll go to the bronze. She sees Giles upstairs at the bronze and says, I'll be back. And Willow is like, that's okay. You don't have to come back. And like, we are given a beat for Buffy to say, I'm coming back. And like, that is important. That is teaching us like who Buffy is at her core and like who these people will be to each other as the series continues.
Yeah. So she goes up to chat with Giles and she's like, this is where you are. This is what you're up to. And he's like, look, this is not what I would like to be doing. I'd actually like to be home with a cup of Bovril. Hit it, Kristin.
Bovril is the trademarked name of a thick and salty meat extract paste developed in the 1870s. Folks, specifically in the UK, use this with warm water to make, and I quote, beef tea. Now, here's the worst part, because I'm gonna be a little bit forgiving, and I'm gonna explain why.
Okay.
However, I'm not going to forgive the second part of the sentence. This beef tea is made by diluting the Bovril with hot water, or less commonly, hold your breath, everyone, with milk.
No.
What? No. Now, here's why I'm giving a little space to Bovril.
Okay.
Because I like a cup of like broth,
bouillon?
Chicken broth.
Yeah, bone broth.
Right, bone broth, exactly. And you know what? So if we're saying like it's
just when you say thick and salty meat extract paste that I'm like, where is the eject button in this thing?
I also, like, in my searching, learned that Bovril cannot be imported into the United States, which has a lot of folks who would really like their Bovril, probably Giles among them, incredibly upset. But don't worry, there is a beefy Bovrite that is made here in the United States for you so that you can still have your hot meat tea. And I know I don't remember a lot about our coverage of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but I do remember that at some point I'm pretty sure we talked to Helen Zaltzman and we were like, what? Tell us about this situation. Like, I'm pretty sure that we made Helen explain it to us.
Hot meat tea.
Meat tea. You know what, Giles? I love a cup of hot bone broth, so I'm not going to judge you. But if I find out, Rupert, that you are putting your beef paste in milk, we are breaking up. That is it.
That is
deal breaker.
That's a lot. That would be tough to get over, to come back from.
Okay. Thank you for listening to my Bovril Corner.
Lord. Okay, so she mentions the harvest to Giles and frames it like, your little pal told me about it. And because she's like, 2 men who are annoying the shit out of me. They must be pals. But they're not. He's like, did he say anything else? And she's like, something about the mouth of hell. I really didn't like him.
Here's this awful shot. This is way worse than the hallway where they have Giles, they have Tony Head like leaning over Buffy, but she's facing forward and he's facing forward. It's not a good choice. But he says something very important to her if we can get past the visual. It's not as though you've been having nightmares. She's like, oh, because we saw her having nightmares and Giles knows.
Speaking of nightmares, check out Jesse's dance.
Jesse.
This is some real grade A, where if the direction was Eric Balfour dance like an absolute ding dong, he like hit it right out of the park. What a guy.
Also, like there's no real reason to explore this too deeply right now, but there's such a weird Cordelia line that like as Jesse is dancing up to Cordelia to be, of course, like completely flattened once again. Cordelia is saying, my mom doesn't even get out of bed anymore. And then she like runs down this list of like things and says it couldn't be Epstein-Barr because nobody cool has Epstein-Barr anymore. Like it might be chronic fatigue. And it's like thrown away, but it's like Cordelia is just sitting there talking to her friends about the fact that her mom doesn't get out of bed anymore? ? That feels... please see Jesse's earlier statement. We want to make you feel like you're at home unless home is scary. Cordelia, what's happening at your home? Why is your mom not getting out of bed?
I'd love to bookmark this for the future, but I don't think we ever get a follow-up.
No, unless like her mom's really had it with her dad and all of his bullshit and is depressed. Could just be depression. Maybe she's born with it. Yeah. Maybe it's depression.
Wow.
Oh my God, this exchange between Giles and Buffy. We will see this again and again and again and again. Giles, hone.
Yeah.
Hone.
This is where he was like really Wesleying out, in my opinion.
Yeah. But this idea that like Buffy really has to reach down deep to get to this like mystical core of the Slayer to sense a vampire. And she's like, that fucking guy, look at that fucking shirt. Looks like shit. He's a vampire. Classic.
And then she quickly realizes that obvious vampire is actually chatting up Willow right now. She's like, oh no, she's seizing the moment, just like I told her to do. And she's like a puff of dust. She's like a cartoon. She's gone so fast. And then this really tickled me on this watch. Giles does this little like uncertainty swivel. He's like, should I go? He turns like one way, then the other. And then he's like, wait, she's gone. It's like some real great body comedy, I thought, from Tony Head. Worth going back and rewatching.
Buffy, resourceful as ever, snaps a chair leg off as she goes looking for them. But the first person she attacks is Cordelia. She has Cordelia up against the bathroom wall. And when she realizes it lets Cordy go, Cordelia gives us a classic. What is your childhood trauma? Pulled right off the page from Heather's. This is like real Heather's dialogue from Cordy.
Buffy circles back to Giles and is like, "Well, I couldn't find him." Meanwhile, Jesse is talking, oh no, to Darla.
God, Darla and her tiny little princess voice, Julie Benz, just Well, I'm here with family. Have I met them? You will. I love her so much. I write, Jesse is flirting with Darla. Who wouldn't? Who amongst us would not? Okay, to the Master's lair again. Luke is so excited because the moment is here.
He's like, it's Rex Manning Day.
It is Rex Manning Day. This ha 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 ha. This scene of ha 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 ha. The Master rising from the red water is ha 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 ha. Complete notes from Kristin Russo. Not too much fruit punch on this mouth. We're gonna get way fruit punchier. I was shocked when I saw that Mark Metcalf in this makeup had barely a drop of red outside of his lip line.
And I haven't looked ahead yet to confirm, but is it just me or does he look way more like a bat in this episode?
Yeah, there's like a certain smoothness to his skin a tautness, if you will, that I don't remember when I think.
But also his nose is like very bat-like, you know?
We'll have to track
it's like sort of, yeah. The Master Nose Watch 2024 begins now.
Master Nose Watch. So he's weak and I hate to say it, but he's stuck in a wobbly bubble. You know, you just hate to be stuck in a wobbly bubble, but this man is, and he'll be free soon. He just needs to get his strength. So
can't he drink the blood in the blood pond? I'm just realizing it's worth asking.
It doesn't have the consistency of blood.
Yeah.
I think it's
and also it's like people die when they drink bath water, right? Who knows how long he's been down there?
Do you die if you drink bathwater?
Well, you don't die if you drink bathwater, hard stop. But like there was that whole thing with like a YouTuber was selling like bathwater and somebody bought it and drank it and died because I think enough time had passed. So there was like a bacteria situation. So, you know, and who knows how many hundreds of years the Master's been languishing in that blood pond. That is, it might actually just be, now there's a meat tea if ever I've seen one.
Yeah, it's actually just a little puddle of Bovril.
Yeah.
Oh God. So that's why, you know, long story short, that's why Darla and crew are up on the surface grabbing folks from the bronze, because they're bringing the Master his little snacks, you know? And speaking of snacks, Willow's being led not to the ice cream bar where she was going to take her new date, but instead through the cemetery. And this is really scary. This is a scary choice that Willow is making, even if this wasn't a vampire. It's dark. There's no one around. And this is not a good choice. We don't want you to go down there, ma'am.
Let this be a lesson to all of you who might be considering seizing the day.
Yes. Seize the day carefully. Seize the day. Make sure your friends know where you are.
Bring a taser.
Bring a taser. Exactly.
Buffy runs into Xander outside of the bronze as she's leaving. And she's like, where's Willow? She left with a guy. Have you seen her? And Xander's like, hope he wasn't a vampire, because then you might have to slay him. You little shitheel, Xander. How dare you waste the Slayer's time in this manner?
What's funny is like Xander is like joking at first, which is funny to me, because like how did he, I guess that's what like humans do, we just like contextualize things to make them not real, but like he definitely is playing, because then when Buffy is like, if I don't fucking find her, she will die, he's like, oh fuck, like you're serious.
Yeah.
It's only after that beat that he's taking this seriously. Fucking at the cemetery, the boy vampire, the outdated, what is it, carbon dated vampire is saying, have you ever been in one of these, and gesturing towards the mausoleum, and Willow just says, no thank you. I can seize the moment, but I am not about to like go have sex with you inside of a mausoleum, sir. But then he throws her.
Yeah, he just hucks her in anyway.
Yeah. And who shows up but Darla?
Is this the best you could do? Rude, Darla.
Why didn't you bring your own? I did. Jesse is woozy, just like Stu, because Darla was a little hungry, so she just needed a little taste. She was a little peckish on the way over. Okay, so what did you want me to call this? A Clewip? A Clewip? We have our
There you go.
Clewip here because, of course, Jesse and Willow are in peril. The vampires are here, and to handle this very serious moment, here comes our Slayer.
Well, this is nice. It's a little bare, but a dash of paint, a few throw pillows. Call it home.
Who the hell are you?
You mean there's actually someone in this town who doesn't know already? Phew, that's a relief. I'm telling you, having a secret identity in this town is a job of work.
It's so funny that they have this exchange and then they have this exchange again. Where later in the fight, Darla's like, who are you? And Buffy's like, you don't know? It's like, Buffy, she already told you she doesn't know. This is the second time that she has asked. Although at this point in the fight, you would think that given how well known we discover the Slayer to be,
right,
as we move through the series, it does seem a little funny with that context that Darla isn't like doing the math.
It's also like, I think, when we were watching this, to contextualize Darla, to watch this having the context of who Darla is, it's funny that she would even be concerned. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny that she is not clocking that this is the Slayer, but fine. But like the fact that she looks worried because Buffy immediately kills the other vampire, of course. She's not going to fucking kill Darla. Come on, we know Darla. Darla's tough as nails. I also wondered in this scene, because we know, now let me make sure I get this right. The Master sired Darla, Darla sired Angel, Angel sired Drew, Drew sired Spike.
Master, Darla, Angel, Drusilla, Spike.
Yeah.
So you notice the no homo alternation.
Yeah, boy, girl,
boy vampires and girl vampires.
But like, where are Drusilla and Spike right now is my question. Does Darla know that Angel is there, and where are Spike and Drew? Like, knowing that there's like this whole web of siring to happen. When I was thinking about like, Darla's so tough, I was like, where's Spike? Truly, Spike was where my mind was. What's he doing right now?
He's out getting into bar fights, and Drew is out prophesying.
Yeah, she's collecting all of her dollies.
Yeah.
Someone very strong has arrived.
He's big.
He's so big, and he throws Buffy like a fucking rag doll across this mausoleum. Can we please hear? We're going to play 2 sound clips of Luke, because you know what? We can. It's our fucking podcast, and I need to hear the first one.
You're strong. I'm stronger.
How do you talk like this? Like, how do you do it?
I don't know, but he deserves his own special Emmy. Do they have an Emmy just for the way you talk? Because he deserves one. Outside, Xander and Jesse and Willow are running, but this clip is in the credits. It's like the sort of like they might be about to break into the Thriller choreographed dance, perhaps. Mm-hmm. All these vampires coming through. Then Luke breaks Buffy's stake. This is actually where he throws her. I'm sorry, I got excited. And then let's hear what he has to say as the first part of the 2-part pilot comes to a close.
And like a plague of boils, the race of man covered the earth. But on the 3rd day of the newest light will come the harvest, and the blood of men will flow as wine, when the Master will walk among them once more. The earth will belong to the old ones, and hell itself will come to town. Amen.
Yeah, a plague of boils. That's a no for me. I'm out on a plague of boils. Thanks.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great. The blood of men will flow as wine. It doesn't sound great, but it does sort of sound like a harvest of sorts. You know, I think that we could take this information, add it to the information that we've gotten from Angel, and consider that perhaps this is the harvest on the third day of the newest light. Do you think that means like the new moon happened and then I just thought that was an interesting turn of phrase. What makes the light newest?
Yeah.
You know,
that feels right.
Yeah, third day. And I'm pretty sure that my wife told me earlier that today was a new moon. So today's Friday when we're taping this. So third day. So would today count as one Saturday, Sunday? So I should be careful on Sunday.
Be careful on Sunday for sure.
Just in case. All right, great. Well, Jenny. Whoa. We've gotten to it. To be continued.
Wow, that's really exciting.
You know, this train only goes in one direction, Jenny.
I know, and it goes all the way from 1 to 7.
Yep, and I have packed my fucking snacks this time. I've got water. I've even got booze because the pregnancy, the child that I am carrying inside of my body right now could be about 6 by the time this thing is over. Your child could be 8, for fuck's sake. So I hope that you've packed enough supplies.
Whoa. That was... I didn't like what I just heard.
I'm so sorry. In the first run, I feel like I was like, and I would be like 40 something when this was over. Like that was what we were like marveling at.
40.
So,
no, we could never be 40.
Never. But yeah, this is we're gonna continue with our second episode. You silly listeners who thought that perhaps we would ever cover Welcome to the Hellmouth and the Harvest in one fell swoop. We could never.
Simply ludicrous. We'd be here for 5 hours.
Yeah, we'd be doing a fucking House of R deep dive if we did two of them together. So Jenny, we didn't even talk about. So we'll have segments will pop up. I've already got some bubbling commentary on the dawn of it all for next episode, and
the segments will reveal themselves in time as they did the first time.
Exactly.
I'm excited. It feels great to be back in Sunnydale. I gotta say,
I feel alive. It truly feels like coming home. Here we are. Know every alley in this place, you know?
I do. I really do. Feels like home.
Well, I guess here's the plan in case you're wondering what happens next. We're going to tell you all the things we tell you at the end of a podcast. Then you're going to hear a song. And then you're going to hear a little bit about, what happened when we made that song.
Yeah. We're going to do our outro, play the Welcome to the Hellmouth song in its entirety, and then have a little chat. I am Jenny Owen Youngs, and you can't stop me. And when I'm not watching Buffy or the X-Files or Yellow Jackets or what have you, I'm usually doing music stuff, making records, going on tour. A deluxe edition of my album Avalanche is coming out this very month on November 22nd, my birthday. If you've been listening to the podcast, you know all about my birthday because I talk about it all the time. And Avalanche, the deluxe edition, will be out on my birthday this year. You can pre-save it or pre-order it wherever you buy or stream music. I also just announced some New England tour dates. Looking at you, Northampton, Peacedale, Rhode Island, Cambridge, Massachusetts, Portland, Maine. I'm going to be playing some shows in February. It's going to be really fun. So come on out and say hey. You can find info about all of that at jennyowenyoungs.com or give me a shout on socials at jennyowenyoungs.
I got so excited when you said you were playing Northampton and was like, oh my God, when are you playing, Jenny? And you were like, right at the moment you are having your baby, I will be in Northampton. So forget that.
No, come bring the baby.
Bring the baby. Come on down. It's only a 2-hour drive. I am Kristin Russo, and when I'm not talking about Buffy or the X-Files with Jenny, I am often working with and for LGBTQ plus communities. Recently worked on an incredible little book called A Quick and Easy Guide to Coming Out. It released this past September, published by Oni Press. It's a part of a larger series, and I'm really, really excited about it. I'm really proud of it. You should check it out, and you can learn more about all the work that I do. I have a queer horror movie club and a queer book club over on my website, KristinNoeline.com. That's KristinNoeline. Why am I spelling it? It's the first episode back in Sunnydale. We should play the jingle that Jenny made for me so you'll never forget my middle name spelling and you'll never think that my handle is Kristin Online. It's not.
But imagine if it was.
Kristin with an I, Noeline.
And you can use that spelling to, of course, find me on social media if you so choose.
Buffering a Rewatch Adventure is on socials at BufferingCast, and you can always email us at hello@BufferingCast. And you might be saying to yourself right now, I thought I was listening to Buffering the Vampire Slayer. What is Buffering a Rewatch Adventure? Buffering a Rewatch Adventure is the pod umbrella that we opened upon completing our first run of Buffy. And beneath that umbrella lives all of our other shows. We've got the X-Files. We've got Doom coming. We've got Okie Dokie, a Fallout podcast. We've got bits and bobs and things. And depending on where you listen or how you listen, you might want to know that our main Buffering a Rewatch Adventure feed has all of our shows in one place. But if you are a purist and you're like, I couldn't possibly with X-Files, I only want what I want, we also have all of our shows in their individual feeds for your convenience and enjoyment. Yeah.
For her pleasure. Yes.
Wow.
If you would like to support the work that we do here, we are an independent podcast. We do the producing and the talking and the editing and all of that inside of our little Buffering a Rewatch Adventure umbrella here. We'd love to have your support. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/bufferingcast. It's super active over there. You heard Jenny talk about Fallout coverage and Doom Coming, which is our Yellow Jackets coverage. A lot of that goes first to our patrons. We do movie watches. We do, of course, Buffy watches, X-Files watches. It's a very fun time. And it's a great way to help us keep making the content that we make.
This episode was produced by Kristin Russo, Jenny Owen Youngs, and LaToya Ferguson, with support from our consultant, Mackenzie McDade. It was edited by Kristin Russo. What can't she do? Until next time.
Woo!
Sunnydale, I haven't quite unpacked. Oh, hey, Cordelia, Xander, Willow, ugh, who's this creeper in the stacks with the great big vampire book, probably bound in human skin? There's a dead guy in a locker and all they did was cancel Jim. Whoa, welcome to the Hellmouth. Forgot my steak. Welcome to the Hellmouth. We would be okay. Welcome to the Hellmouth. Joyce is optimistic. Headed to the bronze and there's a hot guy on my heels talking some trash about some harvest. Is this librarian for real? Gotta follow Willow to the graveyard, try to keep her from getting bit. I can't believe I got sucked back into this. Shh. Whoa, welcome to the Hellmouth. I'm in a crypt. Welcome to the Hellmouth. Luke is big. Welcome to the Hellmouth. To be continued.
Okay, so what you just heard was our very first Buffering the Vampire Slayer song ever, Welcome to the Hellmouth. When we first decided to make the podcast and I decided I'm going to make songs, what a great idea. I think I was envisioning that they would all sound and feel like this, that they would just be acoustic guitar and vocal. They'd be pretty simple and they'd be very like literal recappy, fun, this monster of the week feel. Like I consider this definitely a monster of the week song, even though it's, for the pilot of the series. We've got the callback chorus with Joyce is optimistic. She's so optimistic. Luke is big.
If I may, we've looked at the pilot episode for some of, what become classics in the series. And I think like those two lines that you just said, like Joyce is optimistic and Luke is big. Those like contrasting kind of lyrical lifts feel very indicative of songs that you will write, especially in this vein, in this Monster of the Week vein. Your ability to bring in words like optimistic in a lyrical structure is incredible. And at some point, we're going to get the periodic table. Not even 2 more episodes, we get periodic table of the elements. I think one of your most impressive lyrical insertions of all time.
That was, I feel like periodic table of the elements, like finding a way to fit that phrase into the sort of like established rhythm and phrasing of the verses of where it appears was like my first personal challenge, where I was like, I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to make it feel like it actually belongs here. And that became kind of like an ongoing thing for me, like a continuous series of personal challenges. Can I do this? Can I figure out how to do that? The normal rules of songwriting apply, but also, the world is wide open and I can do so many things. I feel like I can do so many things in buffering songs that I can't do in regular songs. So that's pretty fun.
This was, and you knew, I'm pretty sure that you knew, or we knew, that at least melodically you were writing one song that was going to be split into 2 pieces. Like when we get to the harvest, you knew when you sang To Be Continued, we were going to continue this same song, which doesn't happen with all of the 2-parters, but it does happen again with some 2-parters, right?
It happens again with What's My Line.
Right.
Becoming parts 1 and 2 just have one song that we ended up putting in Becoming Part 2. I have a regret. I'd like to air a regret.
That's what this is for.
So the way that this ends with the To Be Continued, what I should have done at the beginning of the Harvest song is I should have played the F. I should have gone to
connect them.
Yeah.
And that's what you do live now, right? Like you'll play that to get into the harvest when you play it together as one, because it's very rare for you to only play. Usually, if you're playing Welcome to the Hellmouth, you're going to play the harvest as well, right on its heels. Jenny, just for the listeners at home, as I was halfway through that, Jenny's office chair was just spinning empty. She was gone, and I was like, is she going to come back with a guitar? What's happening?
I did want to go grab a guitar because it's actually, sorry, not that anybody is scoring me probably, but I meant the G, not the F. The harvest should start with like, so hey, about that harvest, well, it seems to be quite nigh, but it doesn't because Jenny messed up.
Hey, you know what? That's part of the process. Just, you know what? Just like in the pilot, they learned don't put the puddle of blood. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Shows, they're just like us.
Well, as you've indicated, Jenny, you and I both thought, yeah, just a little ditty at the end of each episode. And that will, over time, if you're a new listener, uncover itself to be completely untrue.
A lie we told ourselves.
A lie we told ourselves because, and I want to say this, and I'm sure we'll repeat ourselves as we go through the pod, but like, the reason that the things kind of like, the horse got away from the cart, so to speak, is because we were having so much fun. We could not stop having fun. And so, when you're having fun, you're like, oh, but what if we did this? And what if we made this? And then you've set a bar and now you have to reach reach that bar every time. So
yeah,
we're going to try to have a little less fun this time. That's not true.
No.
We're going to have so much fun and make all new challenges for ourselves. How delightful.
Hooray.
All right, Jenny. I'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Laura Cathcart-Robbins, and I am the host and creator of the podcast Only One in the Room. Every week, my co-host Scott Slaughter and I invite you to join us and lose yourself in someone's incredible Only One story. We talk to real people dealing with issues like infertility, the death of a loved one, human trafficking, and women who, fake it. Oh, and we want to be fair, so we talk to celebrities too. Emmy winners like actor John Cryer, supermodels like Amber Valletta, and rock stars like Ryan Dusick. Everyone is invited to share their Only One story with our listeners. With 21 seasons and counting, we guarantee you that Only One in the Room has a story that you'll connect with. This podcast is for anyone who has ever felt alone in a room full of people, which is to say that this podcast is for everyone. Download Only One in the Room on Apple or Spotify today.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.